Amy Winehouse was born on September 14, 1983 in Southgate, London, England. She is known for being a talented singer-songwriter. She won numerous awards, including 5 Grammys. Newsweek called her a perfect storm of a sex kitten, raw talent, and poor impulse control. She suffered from depression, bulimia, alcoholism, and heavy drug use. She was also a cutter. Her debut album, called Frank, was released in 2003. Amy has said that she was only 80% happy with how it turned out. Her next album was called Back to Black. The 2006 release made her an international star. Her song called Rehab was a massive hit. Many of her concerts ended early because of her substance abuse. She was often booed off stage. She was married to Blake Fielder Civil for 2 years. It was a tumultuous relationship that exacerbated her addictions. She was arrested multiple times for assault and drug charges. She died in July of 2011 from alcohol poisoning. She was 27 years old. Janis Joplin was born on January 19, 1943 in Port Arthur, Texas. She was a powerful, charismatic singer. Some of her great songs included Me and Bobby McGee, Try Just a Little Bit Harder, Move Over, Piece of My Heart, Cry Baby, and Down on Me, just to name a few. She was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1995. She sold over 18 million albums. Pete Townsend once said, "Even Janis on an off night was incredible." Unfortunately, she joined an exclusive club with the likes of Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, and Kurt Cobain. She started singing in high school. She was bullied because of her weight and acne. While briefly attending college in Austin, she was voted ugliest man on campus. That is absolutely despicable. She had many failed relationships. She had a very self-destructive lifestyle. I just wish she could have seen in herself what we all see. After moving to San Francisco in 1963, she started recording some songs. That same year, she was arrested for shoplifting. She said in an interview, "I didn't have many friends, and I didn't like the ones I had." She loved her southern comfort and drugs like meth and heroin. In 1965, she moved back to Texas to fix her life. She stopped using everything. She enrolled at Lamar University and majored in anthropology. Music was her calling in life, and she moved back to California. She joined the band Big Brother and the Holding Company. Their debut album was released in 1967. She became a star after their second album. Unfortunately, she was surrounded by bad influences and she started abusing substances again. She went solo in 1969 and her heroin use was out of control. She shot up before performing at Woodstock. She briefly dated actor and musician Chris Christopherson. She also dated women occasionally. She never married and had no children. She was engaged twice. She died in 1970 from a heroin overdose. She was 27 years old. Jim Morrison was born on December 8, 1943 in Melbourne, Florida. He was the influential singer, co-founder, and a songwriter in the legendary band called The Doors. He was posthumously inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993. He was also a poet and an artist. He said his biggest hope and dream was to one day become an author. He was the ultimate rock star, nonconformist, and rebel. He was highly intelligent and he loved to read. His nickname was the Lizard King. My favorite song has always been The Crystal Ship. What's yours? Here's a fun fact. I have a Jim Morrison tattoo. He moved around the country a lot since his dad was in the military. He graduated high school in Virginia and attended college in Florida before enrolling at UCLA. He earned a bachelor's degree in film. It was there where he met Ray Manzarek, Robbie Krieger, and John Densmore, and they formed The Doors. My mom saw them in concert and said they canceled halfway through because Jim was too drunk to finish. In 1967, while appearing on The Ed Sullivan Show, the producers famously requested the lyrics from Light My Fire be changed to a more family-friendly version. The band agreed, but Jim sang the original lyrics anyway. They released 6 studio albums while Jim was alive. Jim's drinking became worse and worse. His substance abuse was legendary. In 1970, Jim was convicted of indecent exposure and profanity during a concert in Florida. He was pardoned after his death. He never married and had no children. He died in 1971. The official cause is heart failure, but there was no autopsy performed on him. He was 27 years old. Jimi Hendrix was born on November 27, 1942 in Seattle, Washington. He was a singer, a songwriter, and a musician. Many people say he's one of the best guitar players who ever lived. His performance of the Star-Spangled Banner at Woodstock in 1969 is iconic. His career only lasted 4 years. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1992. With songs like Purple Haze, Hey Joe, All Along the Watchtower, The Wind Cries Mary, Voodoo Child, Fire, Foxy Lady, and Little Wing, just to name a few. No wonder he has reached legend status. What's your favorite song by him? He's definitely influential and will never be forgotten. Paul McCartney said it was mind-blowing seeing Jimmy perform in a club called the Bag of Nails in London. He didn't start playing guitar until the age of 15. He learned to play by ear. He had a couple of run-ins with the law and was given a choice of going to jail or joining the army in 1961. He was in the 101st Airborne Division, nicknamed the Screaming Eagles, at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. His heart clearly wasn't in it, and he was discharged after around 13 months in 1962. The official reason was on the grounds of insuitability under honorable conditions. I've read conflicting stories that he pretended to be gay or he broke his ankle after a jump. After playing with a few bands, including Little Richard and the Isley Brothers, he found success with the Jimi Hendrix Experience. They released their debut album in 1967 called Are You Experienced? After legendary appearances at the Monterey Pop Festival and Woodstock, Hendrix was well on his way to becoming the biggest star on the planet. He died in September of 1970 after choking on his own vomit after a mixture of sleeping pills and alcohol. He was 27 years old, another member of the 27 Club. Kristen Pfaff was born on May 26, 1967 in Buffalo, New York. She is most well known as the bass player and backup singer in the band with Courtney Love called Hole. She attended Boston College and graduated from the University of Minnesota. She taught herself to play bass guitar and formed a band called Janitor Joe in 1991. Eric and Courtney from Hole saw her play and asked her to join their band. She declined. Her dad later convinced her to give Hole a chance since they already had a record deal. Kristen appeared on the 1994 album called Live Through This. It will always be one of my favorite albums. She was close friends with Kurt Cobain. She used drugs a little before moving to Seattle, but she soon spiraled out of control. All of her friends were junkies. She decided to quit Hole and move back to Minneapolis. While in Seattle gathering her belongings in June of 1994, she overdosed on heroin and died. She was 27 years old. Mia Zapata was born on August 25, 1965 in Chicago, Illinois. She is known for being the lead singer of the punk band called The Gits. She was brutally beaten, raped, and murdered as her band was gaining momentum. The band was formed in 1986 in Ohio while Mia was attending Antioch College. In 1989, they relocated to Seattle, Washington. Her family was well off, but she chose to live in an abandoned house called the Rat House. The Gits quickly gained a following due to their high-energy shows and Mia's magnetic personality. They toured up and down the West Coast and independently released their first official album. In July of 1993, Mia was drunk and walking at night in Seattle when she was attacked. She died at age 27. For years, the case was unsolved. Thankfully, DNA evidence was linked to a Cuban immigrant named Jesus Mesquia 10 years later. He had a long criminal history. He was found guilty and sent to prison. He died in 2021. Chris Bell was born on January 12, 1951 in Memphis, Tennessee. He's known for being a singer, producer, songwriter, and musician in the underappreciated band called Big Star. They didn't get much attention while he was alive, unfortunately. He died a tragic death way too young. I got turned on to them a while ago, and I try to bring them up as much as possible because they had a lot of great songs. He played in several local bands before meeting Alex Chilton, who used to be the singer in a band called the Box Tops. They eventually joined up and formed Big Star. Their debut album called Number One Record was released in 1972. Bell and Chilton wrote most of the songs. They weren't promoted well by the record label, and their masterpiece bombed. He was depressed and started drinking and doing more drugs. Chris soon left the band, and Big Star broke up in 1974. He started working on solo songs and co-produced a band called Pricks. Times were tough and he started working at his dad's restaurant. He died in a car crash in 1978. He lost control and smashed into a light pole, dying instantly. He was 27 years old. Pete Ham was born on April 27, 1947 in Wales. He is known for being the talented singer, rhythm guitarist, and founding member of the band Badfinger. They were the first band signed to the Beatles record label, Apple Records. Their first hit song, called Come and Get It, was written by Paul McCartney. He just gave them the song. They got their name from Badfinger Boogie, which was the working title for the Beatles song With a Little Help from My Friends. Their second album, released in 1970, had the hits No Matter What and Without You, which would also be recorded by Harry Nilsson. When the Beatles broke up, Apple Records imploded. They signed with Warner Brothers. There were lawsuits, money problems, rejected albums, and tremendous pressure to release a new album every 6 months. He just purchased a house and was told he had no money. After a night of drinking, he committed suicide by hanging in April of 1975. He left behind a pregnant girlfriend and her son. He was 27 years old. Brian Jones was born on February 28, 1942 in England. His birth name was Louis Brian Hopkin Jones. He was the founder and rhythm guitarist in the Rolling Stones. He got his first guitar at age 17. He wanted the Rolling Stones to be a blues band and became increasingly difficult to get along with as their sound changed. It was almost as if he was jealous of Mick Jagger and Keith Richards taking control of his band. He had 4 kids with 4 different women. There was a possible 5th kid. The mother signed a non-disclosure agreement in exchange for money. In 1962, the Rolling Stones were formed. Mick and Keith wanted to create more original music instead of blues covers. Jones started taking drugs and abusing alcohol. He was arrested for drugs in 1967 and 1968. In 1969, he couldn't get a work visa to tour the US because of his record. He was fired from the band. A month later, he died after drowning in his pool. He was 27 years old. Kurt Cobain was born on February 20th, 1967 in Aberdeen, Washington. He was the singer and songwriter in the influential band called Nirvana. Have you ever been to Aberdeen? I have. It was the most depressing, gray, dying city I've ever been to. He was a reluctant voice of Generation X. He was arrested a couple of times and he worked as a janitor before making it. He had many different musical influences including metal, punk, and pop music. His parents divorced in 1976 and this had a profound effect on Kurt. He formed the band in 1987 along with Chris Novoselic. They had several different names before settling on Nirvana. Their second album, Nevermind, came out in 1991 and they were launched into the stratosphere. He suffered from strange stomach pains and turned to heroin to treat it. After meeting and marrying Courtney Love, his life seemed to spiral out of control. Even the birth of his beloved Frances Bean couldn't calm him down. Fun fact, Michael Stipe is her godfather and Drew Barrymore is her godmother. He overdosed in Rome in March of 1994 and returned to the US to attend rehab. He left treatment early and returned to his home in Seattle. He was married once and had 1 child. He died in April of 1994 after taking his own life. There are many conspiracy theories surrounding his death, but we'll probably never know the truth. He was 27 years old.